Hey everybody, Caleb here, and today we're in a slightly different setting. I'm really excited because the material for my new shop just showed up today. So I know it probably just looks like a big pile of wood and concrete mix, but I'm really happy. This has been a long time coming. It was like 2.5 weeks ago that I finally got this stuff ordered, and it came in today, and it was quite the fun experience getting it unloaded. The man who drove the truck also brought a forklift, and about halfway through unloading it, it started pouring rain. So you can see I got the concrete mix covered up. It is also wrapped, but it's covered in a tarp to help it stay dry. I think it's going to continue to rain today, but I'm really excited because this means we can finally get started on turning the old barn into a wood shop. The way it's looking is we're not going to get started for a few more days because it's looking to rain some more and rain some more and rain some more. But it's finally here. I finally got it. The only other thing that's left to come is the actual trusses themselves because they come from another company. But I'm really glad to finally have some material out here so we can start moving in the right direction. Hey everybody, Caleb here, and we are back in the shop. The guitar in front of me is this older Gibson I've been working on replacing the binding on. It's been a lot of scraping. I just thought I'd show a little bit of where that is. It's coming along. It's taken me a lot longer than I wanted to, but I also had to make this kind of tool here. This is the binding scraper. It just is basically a piece of wood that holds the razor blade in place here so I can get an even scrape from across here. All the corners are rounded off and it's nice and flat so it can just kind of slide across the back, the sides, or the top very easily. But I thought we'd do a little update on what's been going on around here this month. I'm sure you saw right at the beginning we finally got shop material out, so I am super excited to get started on that. Beyond that, I've done some rearranging in my current setup, and I thought I'd show you that. I was having some trouble getting the whole guitar in shot at one time, so I've actually gone ahead and moved my camera back a little bit, and we can now do this. So now I've got an even wider range since I moved that camera back a little bit, so you can fit the whole desk in shot. I think I'll go ahead and kind of pan around the room here. But I've actually got some tables set up now in the center. Where I had one before, I've now got two set up to help hold everything. I've done a lot of buying little things here and there this month. I bought an ultrasonic cleaner to help do parts. It's a really small one, but it should help with screws and that sort of thing. I've also had to bring over a larger screen to work as my viewfinder because now that the camera is further away, I can't see in the camera. I had intended on this guitar to be done quite a bit of time before now. Actually, I had planned on this guitar's video to come out. What will be yesterday for you is tomorrow for me, which would be the Saturday before this video comes out. But it ended up taking me longer than I thought it was going to. So I've got to get this done. So I'm going to continue to work on this while we talk here. There's a few things I wanted to talk about in relation to some things that have happened this month. About 2 weeks ago, I put out a video that had some animations in it and that sort of thing, some more visual aids. I don't have any more topics to talk about in this video, but I did want to touch on, there was a couple of comments talking about string spacing at the nut, and the particular sheet I was reading from suggested dividing by 5 to find your string spacing at your nut. And there were a few questions regarding equal gaps on larger string sizes. And I'd have to say that, in general, I would agree that you want to make sure that your gaps are the same, not so much that the centers of the strings are the same, because as you get wider with your strings, Obviously, you're going to need a little more space between them. But the most important point, I think, when we're talking about cutting nut slots is you can do the math and it can be absolutely perfect. And you can get your calipers out and, scratch the lines on the nut. But ultimately, I don't know anybody who doesn't cut their nut slots by hand. And that's going to introduce some margin of error. Anytime you cut anything by hand, you're introducing some margin of error. So I don't think it helps to be super, super picky about it. I think in general, most people are probably a little too picky about getting that started. Now, the thing is, though, most of the time, once you get started, you can kind of adjust them, and you probably will anyway, left or right, because inevitably, cutting by hand introduces some slop. So even if I do the divide by 5 method to find all my string spacings, I'll end up probably adjusting them by eye, left or right, to make sure the spacings look good. Because ultimately, the only way to get them absolutely perfect would be to take all of your nuts to a milling machine and actually milling every single slot perfectly. And I don't know anybody who cuts nut slots that way. Now, they might do that from the factory. I don't know. But anyone who's replacing a nut will cut them by hand. I hope that answers some of that worry about unequal string spacing with the thicker gauges. Other than that, the tips and tricks video did very well. I'm very pleased to see that people really enjoyed it. It was probably a little bit more difficult to make than I initially thought it was going to be, but it turned out very good, I thought. I will be trying to do it again here in the near future. Also talking about recent videos, last week's Cittern video, I thought the Cittern turned out very well. I got an email back from the customer on that one. He is very happy with his Cittern, and I was very happy to hear it. So I just thought I'd share that little detail with you. This is probably going to end up being a shorter video because I've got a lot to do. I am, in my opinion, falling way far behind. So I'll try to keep the rest of this fairly brief. I've got part 2 of my acoustic guitar build, which is not finished, just so you know, the actual guitar. But part 2 of it is just about done being edited, and then I will be uploading it to my Patreon. I'm not telling you need to go watch it there. That's up to you. But it is there for those who are already members of that. The only other thing I kind of wanted to talk about was I bought an ultrasonic cleaner this month. It is a really, really tiny one. But now that that's done, I'm kind of starting to look at the 40-watt laser cutters. I really got used to using one when I had one, and now that I don't have one easily accessible, I kind of miss it. So I'd actually like some suggestions from you all. I assume someone out there is going to know something about it. Who has good experience with a good one? That's really what I'd like to know. So if you'd leave a comment, or actually what would be better would be email me. My email is in the description of this video. It's also on my website. If you'd email me and tell me this is one that I use, just send me a link. That would be really great because I'm starting to look for those. I'd really like to get my hands on one. I don't believe there's anything else for me to talk about. Hopefully we get some dry weather coming up so we can get started on the shop. We got everything lining up pretty good. All I'm waiting for to come now is trusses. But everything else is here, so I will be filming some of that at least, so I'll hopefully get to take you along and show you some of what's going on. Beyond that, upcoming videos will be this Gibson, and then there's a Martin neck reset coming up not too far after. So that's been my July, and then it's running into August, so thanks for coming along on these videos, and thanks for watching. Thanks for watching all the silly little ones in between. I'm going to get back to trying to finish this thing up, so I will see you later. I'm here in my yard with the material for my brand new shop. It'll be pretty fun to finally get this up. But you know what I like more than material things? Knowledge.